Hello, my fellow world explorers. Welcome back to the channel. Today's reaction video is going to be every state in the US. Guys, as you guys should have known by now, I have a love affair with the United States. Since I was a little boy, I used to hope to immigrate to the United States when I was younger. But as I've grown up and life circumstances, it has turned out that I'm stuck here. I have to use that word, yes, because at the end of the day, would I have still wanted to immigrate out of the country? Definitely yes, but at this point I feel like I have to try and settle down and have a family, so I don't really want to make any move anymore. If I was younger, I would have still tried to make that move, but I think that ship has sailed. Actually, the United States is a country that I've actually really been looking at since I was small, so I think I know a lot of states. I really do know a lot of states. Like plenty, there are some states that if you put it on the map on the United States, I could actually recognize it by just the map. I could name the states. I don't know whether there's any video that I can test myself out to know that kind of how much I know, but at the end of the day, I still hope to visit the United States in the future if I can afford it, but I don't think I'll be able to immigrate because at the end of the day, I don't want to come and be one of these people that the government is assisting. I would want to come and work hard and make it, and I feel like it's too late for me. I don't know, maybe some people tell me it's not too late, I can still make the move, but I don't know. Now, preferably, if I were to choose between the two countries, between United States and Canada, I would choose Canada because from what I'm hearing, Canada, there are better opportunities for jobs and things like that. And of course, like I told you guys before, I don't like guns. I have nothing against you guys that take it very importantly about your gun ownership. But as someone that has not really touched a gun with my hand, I've never done that. I only see the police carrying it around. I've never actually touched a gun. I mean, I'm not used to it. So I guess if I was in the United States, I would have probably liked guns. Who knows? I don't know. Because at the end of the day, I would like to protect myself. So maybe I would have liked guns. Anyway, that is either here nor there. I don't want to bore you guys with my sorrowful story like I did with other videos in the Canada video and the rest. I don't want to bore you guys with that. About the 500 subscribers by the end of this month, I think we could do it. We can do it, guys. Like, I'm actually surprised. I'm actually shocked by the rise. I'm really, really grateful and appreciative. When I created that goal for myself, I didn't think it was possible, to be honest with you. But at the end of the day, you have to pick goals in life and believe that it's possible. And it seems you guys want to prove to me that it's possible. And I'm grateful to you guys. And let's try to get there. We're almost at 300 subscribers. We can get to that 500. With the way it has risen in the last 1 week, it's very, very possible. So let's get to the video.
This is Every State in the U.S. by Wendover Productions and made possible by the Great Courses Plus. We'll start with Alabama, the first state alphabetically. Magnolia Springs, Alabama.
One thing I used to hear about Alabama, I used to hear a lot of, I know I have a lot of American viewers. I don't want to offend anyone, please. But I used to hear this rumor that the state of Alabama is known for people, incest kind of relationships. Of course, it's probably a stereotype. Maybe it's just probably like 5% of the population that does that. We have those kind of stereotypes in my country as well. So probably not majority of the states. So I'm just trying to state what I've been hearing.
The only town in America to have their mail delivered by boat. Although the longest mail delivery route in America is in rural Oklahoma, where delivery drivers have to drive 187.6 miles each day to deliver the mail to around 200 houses. Oklahoma's state vegetable is the watermelon, which happens to be a fruit. And Oklahoma is also home to Kansas, the town. The real
Wait.
Kansas, or more specifically this point,
I thought Kansas was a state. Okay, wait. Kansas City. I think I've heard Kansas City. Kansas. Was it not a state? So it's Kansas in Oklahoma State. Wow. Okay.
is the geographic center of the contiguous United States. What Kansas is not home to is Kansas City, which counterintuitively is in Missouri, where the population center of the US is. The
How does that work? Kansas City is not in Kansas State. Oh, sorry. Kansas is not even a state. Sorry. Kansas City is not even in. Man, I'm confused. So Kansas is in Missouri. Wow. Missouri was where Ozark was. That series. I don't know whether you guys have seen it before. Ozark. Okay. Yeah, I can remember Kansas, the Kansas mob. Yeah, in the series, the Kansas mob was mentioned in the series. Well, not a people mentioned, prominent. So, okay, so Kansas is in Missouri. So Kansas City is in Missouri. Then Kansas, man, whatever.
average location of every American. Missouri borders 8 states and is therefore tied with Tennessee as the state that borders the most
Wow.
other states. Tennessee was a southern state that seceded from the United States and joined the Confederacy, except for Scott County, which seceded from Tennessee and formed the unrecognized independent state. Scott County didn't actually officially rejoin Tennessee until 1986. Tennessee's western border was originally defined by the course of the Mississippi River, which has since changed course, which has led to all these enclaves and exclaves of the two states on the two sides of the river. The Arkansas River, a major tributary of the Mississippi, begins all the way in Colorado, where nobody's entirely sure which mountain is the tallest, Mount Elbert or Mount Massive, since their heights are within 10 feet of each other and people keep building piles of rocks on the summits to make one mountain taller than the other. Colorado is also home to America's longest continuous street, Colfax Avenue in Denver, at 26 miles long. But the shortest individually named street in America is reportedly McKinley Street in Bellefontaine, Ohio, at a mere 28 feet long. Ohio's northernmost point is actually north of Canada's southernmost point, Pelee Island. Pelee Island, Canada, in fact, is farther south than parts of 27 states, including California, which as a state has a higher population than the entire country of Canada. Los Angeles, California, despite being on the Pacific Ocean, is east of 6 state capitals, including Nevada.
What?
Nevada has the point in the entire United
Wow.
States where you're farthest from a McDonald's, only 116 miles. Although Nevada is not the state with the fewest McDonald's. That title goes to the state with 29 McDonald's, North Dakota, which according to some legal experts wasn't
The lowest McDonald's, 29, that is 29 McDonald's. Like, how many McDonald's are there in the United States? That is crazy. That means they basically dominate the whole country. No, I know McDonald's is like a historic kind of restaurant in the US. Like, when you remember the US, you remember McDonald's, you remember Starbucks, you remember which other thing? Or there are some things that are synonymous with the United States. And McDonald's is probably number 1 or so. So, but I'm still shocked that the lowest, that is 29 in the state, that is the lowest. Wow, crazy.
technically a state until 2012, since their constitution was missing this sentence, which meant it didn't fulfill the federal requirement for statehood. Despite having the fewest McDonald's, North Dakota is not America's least populated state. That's Wyoming, which has 2 sets of escalators in the entire state. Wyoming is well known for hosting Yellowstone National Park, although a bit of it spills over.
Wait. I don't know whether that is a random fact, but wait. Only 2 sets of elevators in the whole state. I mean, if it's like in my country that is a third world country, I mean that is possible, but I mean the US is a first world country, right? I mean, not just the first world country, superpower. How will the state have only 2 sets of elevators? What? I mean, okay. Is it one of these states that Americans used to call middle of nowhere? Like, people always mock the middle states. I don't know. I used to see, I don't know, all these things, I've just seen it on the internet. I don't know how true it is and all that. I'm just going by what I see. And I've never stepped out of my country before. But it seems like, and most people that I know that immigrated to the United States, most of them don't stay in these middle states. Like I've noticed, I've never heard anybody tell me that they stay in Wyoming or North Dakota or any of these places. I only hear New York, California, Atlanta, Miami. Most, like, nobody that I know that immigrated is in any of these middle states. Are these middle states that bad? I mean, like, most of them stay in these coastal areas. Wow. Okay.
into Idaho, though in this section you can get away with murder. You see, with the Sixth Amendment, if you're placed on trial, it's required that you are judged by a jury of your peers, which means individuals from the same state and federal district as where the crime was committed. Yellowstone is its own federal district, meaning you need residents from Yellowstone to be on the jury. Although if you were in the Idaho part, you need Yellowstone residents from Idaho to be on the jury. Except this 50 square mile section is entirely uninhabited, so they wouldn't be able to form a jury, which means you'd walk
What
free.
the hell?
There's also one single
Wait. That's crazy. Wait. I mean, if that is the case, why do people not go there to murder people? I mean, I'm not trying to, make some. I'm just speculating here. Like, why don't people go to this particular place to murder people? Since you can't come up with enough jury, because it's a wasteland, I think. So, why are people murdering people in places that they can be tried? They should go to this place and murder. I'm not saying anybody should murder anybody, but I'm just speculating. Like, wow.
road connecting the entire southern section of Idaho to the northern section. Idaho, with its fairly low population, has one single telephone area code for the whole state, just like neighboring Montana.
What?
Montana is home to the least busy commercial airport in the US, Dawson Community Airport, at 4,000 passengers per year, or about 11 per day. Missoula, Montana is also home to the warehouse of DFTBA, where you can buy one of these, a Wendover Productions t-shirts, for only $20. The link is in the description. The busiest airport in America is Atlanta's, at 49 million passengers per year, or
I didn't know that.
135,000 per day. Peachtree.
I thought that should have been New York, the New York airport. Atlanta is that busy. Wow.
A suburb of Atlanta is a community that has 90 miles of golf cart specific roads adjacent to its normal roads, since 9,000 families here have golf carts as their second cars. Kids are even encouraged to drive to school from the age of 12 in their golf carts. Georgia, or more specifically Springer Mountain, Georgia, is the start to the 2,200 mile long Appalachian Trail, which is a hiking trail that terminates all the way up at Mount Katahdin, Maine. Maine is the only state in America to only border one other state, and it's also the closest state to Africa. Seriously, it's closer than Florida. The second closest state to Africa is Massachusetts, or more specifically Cape Cod, Massachusetts, which is technically an island, since a man-made canal separates it from the mainland. Massachusetts is actually farther from Miami than Panama City is. And Miami is closer to the country capitals of Nassau, Bahama, and Havana, Cuba than its own state capital, Tallahassee. Florida has the lowest highest point of any state, 312 feet.
So Tallahassee is the capital of Florida, not Miami. I used to think it's Miami. Okay, I'm learning something.
3 times lower than South Dakota's highest point. South Dakota is home to the geographic center of the entire United States, if you include Alaska and Hawaii, and it was made a state a mere 9 days before Washington, which was called Columbia before it became a state. Its name was changed as to not confuse it with the District of Columbia, but obviously that didn't work out, since DC City ended up being called Washington. Washington Place is the official residence of Hawaii's government.
Washington DC, is that a state? Then what? Then there's another state, Washington State. Wow, that's confusing.
And Hawaii was given its own unique currency during World War II that was its only legal tender, so that, in case the Japanese successfully invaded Hawaii, the federal government could declare all of Hawaii's currency worthless to prevent the Japanese from using it. The closest state to Hawaii is Alaska, whose capital, Juneau, has no roads connecting it with the rest of Alaska or North America, meaning you can't drive in or out. Alaska is also one of the 4 states that completely bans outdoor billboards, along with Hawaii, Maine, and Vermont, whose tallest building is only 11 stories tall. That's the shortest, tallest building of any state. The tallest building in the States is Freedom Tower in New York. New York is home to Ellis Island, or at least part of it. Their territory is completely surrounded by New Jersey, similar to Liberty Island, home to the Statue of Liberty, which is completely surrounded by New Jersey waters, which means you need to travel through New Jersey to get from New York to New York. Clinton Road in West Milford, New Jersey has America's longest red light, a full 5-minute wait. New Jersey actually goes surprisingly far south, farther south than Kentucky's northernmost point. In its southwest corner, Kentucky has a rather large piece of territory that's not actually connected to the rest of Kentucky. Kentucky was the birthplace of Lincoln, who was later elected to the Illinois House of Representatives, and in Illinois is the original Burger King. But it's not the Burger King you're thinking of. This Burger King existed before this Burger King, and therefore sued Burger King when they came to Illinois for trademark infringement and won. So now no Burger King is allowed to operate within a 20-mile radius of this original Burger King. Chicago, Illinois, America's third largest city, is just a tad bit larger than the fourth largest city, Houston, Texas. And Texas is so enormous that El Paso, Texas is closer to Los Angeles than it is to Houston, Texas. Texas's northernmost point is also closer to Michigan than it is to its southernmost point. From Detroit, Michigan, you actually end up in Canada if you
Texas is so large. One of the you guys commented and told me that Texas is actually bigger than California. I used to think California was bigger than Texas. I think okay, I saw it. I think I saw that in another video. How big is the US actually? Yeah, that video. I saw that Texas was actually bigger in terms of landmass, but California is bigger in terms of population.
Travel due south, and Michigan is the only state to be made of two entirely separated sections. Michigan's Highway 185 is actually a bike path, making it the only official highway in America where cars are banned. Michigan's Upper Peninsula is also only connected by land to Wisconsin, which is home to the Green Bay Packers, a team so popular that the waiting list for season tickets is 30 years long. It's so long that it's common for parents to put their kid's name on the list as soon as they're born. In Watertown, Wisconsin is Eutaw Street, but the real—
Wait. Like, what the hell? I mean, is that... I know, like, in my other channel, I've been trying to learn the NFL. So I've gathered that Americans take that game very, very seriously. So, I mean, like, but putting your children immediately when they are born, wow.
Utah has the longest section of interstate in the US with no gas stations, 106 miles on I-70. I-70 ends over 2,000 miles away in Baltimore, Maryland, and the entire state of Maryland has 0 natural lakes. It also has this panhandle that reaches a minimum width of 1.8 miles before expanding back out to 30 miles width out near West Virginia, which is definitively a southern state, but also has this panhandle that reaches as far north as New York City and Nebraska. Monowi, Nebraska is the only incorporated municipality in the United States that has a population of 1. The one resident, Elsie Eiler, is mayor and runs the library and tavern, which is granted a liquor license every year by Elsie herself. Tortilla Flat, Arizona is 6 times larger than Monowi since it has 6 residents, and Arizona—
I don't understand that. Let me go back.
The one resident, Elsie Eiler, is mayor and runs the library and tavern of 1. Nebraska is the only incorporated panhandle that reaches as far north as New York City and Nebraska. Monowi, Nebraska is the only incorporated municipality in the United States that has a population of 1.
That's crazy.
The one resident, Elsie Eiler, is mayor and runs the library and tavern, which is granted a liquor license every year by Elsie herself.
Who is the best? Like,
Tortilla Flat, Arizona is 6 times larger.
Why is it that important? I mean, guys, tell me in the comments below. Who the hell is he? Why is it that important? I mean, I live in a corrupt country, but we don't have anybody that is that like powerful that could own him. Like, I mean, that's crazy. Maybe there's something that I don't know. You guys should tell me in the comments.
In Monowi, since it has 6 residents, and Arizona also has 1/4 of the Four Corners Monument, the only point where 4 states meet in the US. Arizona, Utah, Colorado, and New Mexico, which as a state, by law, still recognizes Pluto as a planet. New Mexico is typically the last state to vote in presidential primaries, whereas Iowa is usually the first. Iowa is the only state in the US whose eastern and western borders are both water, in this case rivers. The eastern border is the Mississippi River, which happens to be the namesake for Mississippi. The Mississippi River also flowed backwards for a full 24 hours in 2012 during Hurricane Isaac, but the Mississippi doesn't actually reach the ocean in Mississippi. It does so in Louisiana, home to the longest bridge over water in the world, at 24 miles.
Wow.
That's so long that for 8 of those miles, you can't even see land on either side. One of the other longest bridges in the US is in North Carolina, the Virginia Dare Memorial Bridge, which carries cars out to Kitty Hawk, where the Wright brothers successfully flew a heavier-than-air aircraft for the first time in history. It was a 12-second, 120-foot flight. That's shorter than the wingspan of a Boeing 747. North Carolina's southern neighbor is South Carolina.
That just shows you how far technology has come. I mean, that is crazy.
South Carolina isn't all that south, since more than half of it is north of North Carolina's southernmost point, and South Carolina also has a town called North, making it North South Carolina.
What?
South Carolina was the site of the first Civil War battle, and the Civil War ended up having a total of 1 battle over in Indiana, where the Indy 500 Speedway is, which is so enormous that you could comfortably fit the entire country of the Vatican inside it. It can also fit 400,000 people, which is the highest capacity of any sports arena in the world. Indiana's state beverage is water, while Oregon's is milk. Portland, Oregon is also home to the world's smallest park, according to the Guinness World Records book, Mill End Park. Oregon is also one of the few states to not have a sales tax, along with New Hampshire, the only state to have no law requiring adults to wear seatbelts. Connecticut Lake in New Hampshire is the source of the Connecticut River, which is what Connecticut the
These
state.
laws are very weird, guys. Like, I don't want to sound disrespectful, but some of these laws are weird. Like, why would the states put that kind of law that some adults are allowed not to wear seatbelts? I mean, I'm not going to sit down here and claim like I'm some, seatbelt freak or anything, but like, if all the other states have this law, why did these states choose not to have this law? I mean, this is really, really funny. Seriously, like, the US is just so diverse, like, so many different parts, and from what I heard, like, different time zones as well. Like, that is crazy. Only one country. Country is too big, man. Too big.
Is named after. Hartford, Connecticut's airport, at less than 3 million passengers per year, is the smallest airport in the US to have a direct flight to Europe. Delaware, on the other hand, certainly doesn't have a direct flight to Europe, since it's the only state that you can't fly to. There's not one commercial flight in or out of this tiny state. It's the second smallest state behind Rhode Island, which is so small that the entire state grows by 3% during low tide. Rhode Island's second largest city, Warwick, shares its name with Warwick, Pennsylvania, and in Pennsylvania is Centralia, where the ground has been on fire since 1962 due to a coal mine fire, and it's expected to burn for over 200 years. Pennsylvania borders Minnesota. Well,
What
not
the
really,
hell?
but Pennsylvania
What the
Avenue
hell
does
is that?
intersect
That is crazy.
low tide. Rhode Island's second largest city, Warwick, shares its name with Warwick, Pennsylvania, and in Pennsylvania is Centralia, where the ground has been on fire since 1962 due to a coal mine fire, and it's expected to burn for over 200 years.
What the fuck?
Pennsylvania borders Minnesota. Well, not really, but Pennsylvania Avenue does intersect Minnesota Avenue in DC, and Minnesota is home to the northernmost point in the lower 48. You see, most of the US-Canada border is defined by the 49th parallel, but a surveying error led to this. The couple hundred residents of this area, called the Northwest Angle, are completely cut off from the US and need to pass into Canada, then back into the United States to go to school.
hell?
Also in northern Minnesota is Virginia, the town, but Virginia, the state, is massive. So massive that Ewing, Virginia is closer to 8 other state capitals than to its own state capital, Richmond. Alexandria, Virginia is actually closer to Toronto, Canada than it is to Ewing, Virginia. Virginia also has
Wow, guys, man, the US is so big and so diverse and so confusing. I mean, like, if I was living in that country, I'm not sure I'll be able to do a road drive from even 3 states. I mean, I can't even drive in my own country. I can't drive from my own state to like the northern part of the country. Like I don't know the road. Even the middle part, I don't even know the road. Talk less of the US, that some of these states are bigger than my country. Or are they? No, they're not. But some of these states are close to. Or if you combine like 4 or 5 of them, are bigger than my country. Texas and California are definitely, both of them combined, bigger than my country. Texas is almost close to my country. So, like, the country is so massive, man. Like, I knew that after I watched the first video I watched, like, how big is the US actually. But, man, like, I'm beginning to see why, I don't know how to put this so that I won't say the wrong things, but I'm beginning to see why the country is, will I say, divided these days. I don't know, like, it almost seems like, I don't know, at least from the outside looking in, I don't know, maybe inside the country it doesn't look that way, I don't know, but from the outside looking in, it just seems like the country is divided. Like, some people totally, now I get that human beings cannot agree totally with everything, that is normal, but it almost seems so polarizing. Like, one side is totally different from the other side. I don't know, like, it just seems like that from the outside looking in. Like, I'm not making any judgments, I'm just going by what I see from the outside looking in. So, but looking at this kind of videos really demonstrates to me that you can even be in the same state, but you are so far away from people that are in the same state with you, so far away, like almost a country mile. Not almost, a country mile, like in just a particular state. So it's really understandable why that could be the case. But I may be wrong. You guys can tell me in the comments or correct me in the comments down below. Maybe it's not as divided as I'm seeing it from the outside looking in. Anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed the reaction. I don't know if there's any video that could make me to test myself, like test myself to be able to guess which state in the United States. I think I would get at least 50%. I think so. I really do think so. So you guys can suggest that in the comments as well. If there's any video like that I could test myself to, name the states without the names being on, just by the map. I would like to test myself. It would be fun. Anyway, guys, thank you for watching the video. Hit the like button if you like this reaction, and also if you haven't subscribed, subscribe. Please subscribe. I want to get to 500 subscribers by the end of the month. Peace.